Hello, my astrology family. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and I have not been so nervous and excited for 10 years probably making a video, because what I'm about to present, the information you're going to hear today, the people I'm going to introduce you to might change your life just like they did mine a few months ago. I have not been excited about a science or occult knowledge like that since I've discovered astrology 17 years. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. I think there is a revolution happening with what we're about to present to you with my soul family. During that time, during the Aquarius Saturn conjunction, I finally discovered a piece of my soul family, like many of you are going to be doing over the next 1 year. You'll be discovering those people you're connected not by blood, and you maybe never met them, but that you're connected with a mission together. And I think I finally found two of those beings. Their name is Elena Bensonov and Alejandro Ferradas, and they have created and developed an amazing system of measuring vibrations of human beings, of objects, of everything that exists on the world. There is no limit to this system. And today you're going to discover this amazing new system that actually fills in the gaps of what astrology cannot do. Astrology can tell you specific, but one thing it can do is show you level of consciousness of someone. And as we'll demonstrate you with a few examples, you will see how with this system, it fills up the gap that all of us that love astrology have been dreaming of to know. Because someone with a lower consciousness will manifest their chart in one way, and someone with a higher consciousness in a totally different way. And we have the answer now. You know, it's the time of Aquarius, vibrations. Aquarius rules vibrations and frequencies. And the two leaders of that, the two pioneers who developed the systems, are here with us, leading us into this new age of Aquarius, Elena and Alejandro. Hello, my beautiful soul family. How are you?
Hi, Lada. Oh my gosh.
Very well, thank you.
Very good, thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you that you appeared in our life too.
Mm-hmm.
The moment, of course, you reached out and you booked your own personal reading, and we didn't know what you were doing because we never asked questions. Part of our work is just reading frequencies. And then, of course, once we got on the call with you, I think for us it was instant love connection, soul family connection. And we were like, wow, there are people that are just like us, speaking the same language, and we're just as excited to have met you, share this knowledge with the world, with you. And it's time for people to really see what is behind the masks and behind the veil.
Yes, you actually have a website and a subscription. I'm subscribed to you guys that you read every week, and you've done hundreds of people now, hundreds of institutions. You can even find videos of Elena and Alejandro for free, Sasha Stone, or on their holistic YouTube video where they read not only figures, public figures, they also read companies, institutions, other planets, and we'll do the 12 signs and the 12 planets next time, because this will be a series. I'm sure you'll be begging for more. I'm insatiable. I go to bed with vibrational frequencies, listening to them. And by the way, through your vibrational readings, you've done a lot of healers, teachers, because I'm very selective who I listen to and give my time to. As to what I let into my mind, because I know how impressionable I am. And through you, I discovered amazing teachers because you calibrated them, and it's all private, it's just for the private group. And I discovered them, and my life started transforming with those teachings, from those teachers, from those doctors, from those, the books that they've written. It's something amazing is happening. I've never felt such a raise in consciousness, such a jump in consciousness in just the 2 months that I have known you and that I have started delving into vibrational frequencies. It's a magic happening. It's honestly like a miracle inside me, because I was stuck in a negative vibration for such a long time, and you shifted it with your revelations. But now, can you tell us a little bit, what is vibrational revelations?
Yes. So Vibrational Revelations is something Alejandro and I developed together a couple of years ago, simply first out of curiosity, because we wanted to understand what makes up our reality. And why is it that we felt discrepancies between the information that was being fed to us. The information, of course, we were consuming consciously or unconsciously, whether it's through social media or television or any kind of network, right? Social network. And we felt the discrepancies. So we decided we wanted to begin to check initially for ourselves the frequencies of what we were consuming, whether it was people, companies, and then it began to unfold. There's a beautiful story for us. So up until this point, we've already read thousands and thousands of people. And then it became to where our clients wanted these readings, not only revealed about public figures, but they wanted things about themselves. And we began to notice the shift in the transformation that was happening with people that were inquiring. And then people were asking us, can you read, my company? Can you see if I'm in alignment with my mission? Can you please reveal if my employees or people I'm hiring will be in alignment with my vibration and the frequency of my company? And then we said at one point, we were like, okay, I think we've been doing enough readings. It's time for us in 2020 to come out and reveal through Vibrational Revelations episodes a lot of the information that people are seeking, but it was never available. So that's how it all started.
Yes. I think it's extremely powerful. One knows exactly where you stand in relation to your level of consciousness and your vibrational frequency, right? And the way we do it, we break it down in not only your overall vibrational frequency, but also the level, we show you the level of resistance that you're experiencing in different aspects of your life, and where that way, once you know that, you can direct more attention and nurture it more in order to enhance the flow and experience a greater feeling. Also, whatever feeling it is you're experiencing at the moment, right? And I think that, we hear this often, and we heard this often before we decided to embark on this journey. People talking about 5D or the fifth dimension, right? And oh yeah, I'm high vibe, and or low vibe, or that person is low vibe, and that was it. So I was like, okay, there's got to be a way that we can actually know exactly if it really is not only how we feel matches our vibrational frequency, right? And so once we learned how to reveal that and measure it, and we've noticed a huge impact on people once they know exactly where they stand, and also know that they have the ability to transcend anything if they feel like it.
That's why the big shift started happening in my life, because I after I had my reading with you, and I had two readings. One was giving me all the numbers, and then we went through another reading that went through my timeline. When did my vibration drop or go up or down? And I was shocked. Maybe you will reveal today my numbers, which is I'm embarrassed about, but I gave me so much hope that people can change, because I've heard you read hundreds of people, and a lot of people don't. They're born with one vibration and they stay, or they go down very often. And you gave me so much hope, because as you'll see in my revelation, I went very low and then I jumped up. So I was like, people can change. And I felt it. You gave me exactly the years. I was shocked. You gave me exactly the events, what happened. I was shocked. I was like, I started crying. You told me the events. You enumerated a few things that could have happened that year. It was all correct. And you showed me when it jumped up, which was when I met my husband, and gradually, little by little, before that as well. And I was like, people change. People are able to do it. And it just gave me so much hope. And once you see results, just like someone, when you start working out and you start seeing results, you work forever and you get more passionate. The same way, when you've seen that there was change and a shift and an improvement, and you're like, I can do better. I can do better. And that gave me wings. Honestly, I've been flying for the last 2 months, and I feel my vibration rising and rising, and it's fascinating. Can you tell us a little bit, how are you measuring? You're using a technology. You're not psychics. Can you explain to me?
Yes, of course. Actually, it's important for people to know that I come from science background. I'm a licensed pharmacist and both board certified in functional medicine. Alejandro comes from a background of finance and real estate. So science is critical. It is critical to me, and I love to see data and I love to see numbers. And just like what you just shared, numbers actually reveal a lot to you. And to me, I look at it this way. It's sort of like going to the doctor and getting your blood work done, right? You could see where your glucose level is, right? You could see where your thyroid, where your red blood cells, white blood cells are, right? So the same thing is, let's say if you have your glucose level, right? There's an imbalance or it's too high, by changing your diet or your cholesterol, right? By changing your diet, it will impact directly your blood work. Well, this is the same thing, except we're doing soul readings. And we do use an instrument, right? It's actually 3 different instruments that we use. We only need a photograph and a person's name to do the reading. If we're doing the lifetime, like in your case, you said that we reveal to you different frequencies until this point of your life. In that case, we would need somebody's age. We don't need an actual birthday because we don't use astrology. We don't use numerology, even though we love it all, but this is not our area of expertise. We do not channel this information. So that's a great insight. And this is just one part of everything else that is possible for people, for us to read. And as you've seen, part of it also I've done with you, is what we do is we read human energy field. And if you think about this, this is a divine field. Another word for it would be morphic field, morphogenetic field. This is the field. If you think about it, it's a timekeeper, it's a recorder. Okay, so past, present, and future information is imprinted in this field. And therefore, we figured a way of how to retrieve this information. And of course, it's utterly important to keep in mind that this information is meant for the highest good of each person. Okay, so exactly as you shared, anyone is able to transcend these numbers. No one is meant to stay in the box of the numbers, because our free will and our divine human potential is so brilliant and magnificent. And this is something that we see over and over again in thousands of readings that we've done, that yes, you can transcend. And we actually see this throughout all the readings. People go up and down, really learning to navigate through life, because it is the journey of life, the beauty of being able to experience different frequencies that make us human, that give us the ability to feel, be compassionate, not only towards others, but truly towards ourselves. So we feel it's the biggest gift that we're giving to humanity by sharing this information, because it is also showing to us what is truly possible.
Absolutely. And this is so Aquarian. You're like the mad scientists of the future, Aquarians that are using some kind of a futuristic technology, but you do a double-blind placebo, I think that's what it's called. You stay in different rooms and you measure this independently from each other, and then you compare, and the numbers are almost always the same, Is that correct?
Yes. So we're not in different rooms. We're still connected because the instruments have to be connected. It's just when I'm doing my part, he's doing another part. And it's not until we're synchronized together for a specific frequency number that's when we know that's the right information for the person that's meant to be presented. The other thing people might say, oh, they're using AI technology, so we want to make sure that people are aware. It's not AI. It's not connected to internet. It's not online. So it's completely offline. So this is important for people to know, because there are technologies now that exist that are already creating this part of this future transhumanism. This is actually not. And this is very important for people to know, because this information is only available, well, it's available to all, but it cannot be manipulated through AI, okay, if this is something that people are concerned about.
And by using algorithms, right?
By using algorithms. We don't use algorithms.
We don't.
So you're tapping into the primordial quantum energy field with those instruments, the wave technology, obviously that's advanced stuff, and it measures the vibration. And you've measured companies, institutions. I was floored by it. It's actually out for free. If you can go and find it on Sasha Stone's, the holistic, the measurement in institutions, governments, I was crying. Most of the institutions, they vibrated at 50 and below, which is manipulation of humanity. These are the institutions that we trust with our lives. These are the people in power as well. And these are companies that we've given power of our lives over to. And some companies even vibrate at 1, which is destruction of human life. And they were created on purpose with this intention. And you're going to see who they are. They're in the media right now. They're in the news every day, because what there is, I don't want to start here talking, but you can watch this video. They're in medical profession, and it's so resonated with me. And can we just show the scale of consciousness so people have an idea what it is? And then we'll start with a few amazing things today. We're going to check, if we have time, we're going to first of all talk about the scale of consciousness of humanity compared to the scale of consciousness of the Atlanteans before, and to give you a bit of hope, because right now we need hope more than anything.
Yes.
People think the world is going to shit. We're going to be taken over by, the Lucifer or whatever, that we're going to be enslaved. And we have good news for you. And that was one of the best things I've learned through your videos and your collaboration with Sasha Stone, that I discovered you through him. And we're going to give you some hope, and then we're going to demonstrate you how it works for one human being. We'll go through my numbers quickly, so you'll be shocked how true it is about my life. And then we'll compare 2 figures, maybe just by the vibrational frequency overall, Russell Brand and Jeffrey Epstein, 2 exactly opposite stories, to see how you can go up or down. We'll see. Let's go. It's so interesting. Can you share screen if you have like, is there a way to share that scale of consciousness?
We don't have the scale of consciousness here. We didn't prepare that, but we will talk about it. So let's talk about the scale of consciousness, actually. So the scale of consciousness, we always want to honor the creator of the scale itself, and that was Dr. David Hawkins. Of course, we do not use his methods, but we do truly appreciate his scale of consciousness, because through that scale, we were able to expand and create the system that we created. So the scale of consciousness has to do with the human experience on this planet, which goes from a frequency of 0 to 1,000, 1,000 being a fully integrated being. And we've measured a couple of avatars that have walked this path at a frequency of 1,000. And then keep in mind, anything below the frequency of 200 has to do with the illusion of separation from self. And therefore, it's something that I call the hijacking of the matrix. And this is where the hijacking tends to happen from all these corporations and media influencing, right? And the consumption of the material that's going on, because it's really all feeding off of unprocessed emotions, right? Fear being the hijacker, right? And being in the victim mentality. Frequencies are under 200. 200 is the bridge. I call it the bridge of courage, okay?
Is it one of the hardest ones to jump over, the vibration of 200?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It all depends, of course, on an individual's path. But to us, we call it the hero's journey, when we see people that are able to overcome their birth frequencies of below 200 and step onto this bridge of courage, because it requires so much true courage to step in, open your wings and fly. And as humanity, as a collective, we've actually stepped onto that bridge.
Yes, David Hawkins states in his book, Power versus Force, that you go from anything below 200 represents force, and anything beyond 200 or from 200 and beyond 200 represents power. So it is definitely difficult to disconnect from all these negative emotions that are in the force realm. They hold you hostage until you're able to transcend it. And once you are at the 200 level of consciousness, which is the first true level of courage, then you start feeling the improvement, as you pointed out earlier, right? And that serves as an inspiration You know, when you start realizing that things are shifting and that you're excited because you are committed to personal growth, right? And so that definitely is your driving force.
So
Your
below
commitment to
200 is like being hell on earth. It's like everything is difficult, it's a struggle, it's pain. Above 200,
yes,
like your head comes out above water, little by little. Can I just very quickly, I discovered the scale of consciousness here. I will just quickly share it. It's not the one that you've made, but it's the same measurements basically. Where did it go? Sorry, I didn't want to show you naked women. Where is that? Here it is. You can find it if you want. Find it. You just write map of consciousness. You would find it. Below 200 is force. Above is power. Below 200 is the feelings like, you know, you see the vibration, shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire. Anger is one of the, anger and pride. When you start getting angry and prideful, you're vibrating higher and higher. You're close to jumping that difficult barrier. And then you go into courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love. You know, once you get to love, it becomes beautiful. It's, you know, and I think that even Dr. Hawkins said that 1% of the vibration of love can counteract the vibration of 1,000,000 people below 200. Who vibrate below 200. Imagine, so working on yourself is not selfish. Working on yourself solves 1,000,000 people and counteracts the negative vibration or difficult vibration. So you're helping 1,000,000 people. And yes, so maybe we can do mine so people can hear how
Yes.
it's one example.
And the other numbers, frequencies. Yes, we'll start with one. Actually, we didn't put together the second part of your reading. We just have the first part. But if you have it written down.
Let me get the other part.
Yes, I'll start with you, part one, and then Alejandro will join us for part two.
Okay.
Yes?
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, wonderful. So keeping in mind, do you want to go through all the numbers, how we've done it with you, or do you want to just go through the basic things?
Well, you can go through all the numbers and maybe after each number I can say something. How I feel about it after that. Yeah.
Yes. And you know, just for the audience who are listening for the first time, keep in mind, you know, in our work, it is human nature, of course, to compare, but it is critical, absolutely critical to keep in mind there is no comparison. Every human being comes with their own specific set of vibrations, their own journey to overcome. So what might be somebody's 200 journey or 150 frequency journey is going to be totally different than somebody's journey at 500. And every single human being is divine, is playing a divine role. And this is really important to keep in mind. So Lada is so graciously wanting to share her frequency. Keep in mind, her journey has been incredibly inspiring, beautiful. And she's so generous to, of course, want to share this frequency with all of you.
Thank you so much. And maybe when you say the general frequency and the neutral, you can tell after that when I dropped and when I went up. I can tell it because I remember it. If you don't have it.
Oh, you remember it? Okay, so maybe you'll go through the numbers because Alejandro is looking for the numbers now, but let's go through it. So we always look in the very beginning at how somebody incarnates, right? Incarnation, oh my God, a nose itch. Incarnation has to do with when the first cell division starts, okay? So this is when the X and Y chromosomes come together, right? Your mom and dad came together. Within the first 36 to 48 hours, cell division begins, and this beautiful divine light of information comes through and gets embedded into the DNA, right? The X and Y chromosome. In your case, you have the two sets, right, of information from both mom and dad, and your soul decided to experience this life in this dimension at a frequency of 200, which is the frequency of courage. So you said, I'm coming in courageously to explore this lifetime. So that was your preset, okay? You were born at a frequency of 200, which is something we always look at, because in your case, you didn't have a drop at that time. But in many cases that we read, we see there is an impact from in utero, right, incarnation to birth. And there is absolutely a difference, right? In your case, there was
I can give an example. You read my husband, and he incarnated at 200 as well, but he dropped uh, the day of his birth, or before, while he was in the womb. He was born at
Yes.
100, and I was shocked. And they said something happened to his mom, which is grief or which is some shock. And I was like, his granddad died 2 months before he was born at the age of 50, very young. And his mom went into total depression and said, I don't want to live. I don't want to give birth. She was just lying, not eating. And she couldn't even push him out. They had to pull him out. So he came with, he was born with 100 instead of 200, which was fear. So you see so clearly with the vibration when something happens to drop your vibration. So that was really fascinating because it describes his story.
Yes. And the other thing, keep in mind, even though this is not your case, but you brought up your husband, the beauty of this is we all choose our experience through very specific facilitators. And in your husband's case, it was your mom and your dad, right? So his mom and his dad. So his dad passed away, and the emotions that contributed to his vibrational frequency drop at birth kind of served as his first school of what life was like on this planet. Okay. So from a divine perspective, it is divine. Those emotions are divine, even though they're negative emotions, but they need enough contrast for him to walk through life. And of course, he beautifully transcended that frequency. So, but let's go into your frequency. So your frequency overall, which actually we should remeasure it because you said that you've been feeling like you're going through a shift. It will be interesting to read
vibrations here, like constantly in my heart, like joy, and it's crazy.
Yes. So I would say probably we should remeasure because this is from about 2 months ago, right? That we did your reading. So it would be interesting to recheck because I feel that you've had a massive shift already. So maybe we'll come back in the next episode and tell you your new frequency. But the time that you booked it, your frequency was at 400. 400 is a frequency of reason, high intellect. So it shows that you have overcome your birth, your incarnation frequency. You have gone through a massive life journey, which the second part of your reading was all about that. And now you're at this high level of mind, intellect. You're capable of dissecting and digesting large amounts of data and information. And that's exactly what you're doing, right? In your work and in your company, Lada, right? So
and you were giving an example that like Jeff Bezos is at 400. I'm not saying Jeff Bezos, but people who can run companies that know how to organize things, they know, okay, I have this vision, I'm gonna make it happen. And they know rationally how to create what they want.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So in your case, you're capable of consuming large amounts of data, digesting it and bringing it out, whether through a company, through your work, which you're doing for public, right? At the moment, with all the videos, everything that you share, this is how you're able to digest vast amount of information, vast amount of knowledge, and dilute it so beautifully, right? Extract the bits and pieces that are necessary to be shared with the world. So that's a 400 frequency. Beautiful. Okay. Yes. So again, this reading, keep in mind, is from a couple of months ago, right? So health.
I just wanted to say something that when we did the timeline, you were like, what? You dropped to 50 from the age of 16 to the age of 26 or 27, you dropped to 50. Yeah. And that's a dramatic drop. 50 is deception, delusion, apathy. You said hopelessness and apathy. You said homeless people have this vibration, and I was homeless. What happened when I was 16? There was a big bullying that started happening at school. All my friends turned against me. There was a sexual assault that I went through quite, I tried to bury it and everything. And since then, for 10 years, it was like, I became homeless. I became drug addict. I was living on the streets. I was immigrant. Because you said everything. You said this drop is connected with bullying, with immigration, with homelessness, or with using of drugs and addictions. And I was like, I went through all of that. I was the law of the law. But there was beauty in that vibration. It's interesting, but you can also find beauty in it, in the misery of it. And it's, when I look at it now, I'm like, so glad I'm out of it, but I was at the, and then you become, when you're at the low vibration, when you're so hurt, you become deceptive to others. This is a way to preserve yourself. you know, when you have to beg for money, when you have to score your next dose, you become deceptive. You mire yourself into a lot of negative things, but you're a good person within, but you can't help it because you just want to survive. This is survival mode. This is not like I'm gonna help humanity, the world is beautiful. No, everyone was manipulative. Everyone wanted a piece of me. Everyone wanted, I was attracting people that were predators, that were sharks for those 10 years. And then I started slowly going out. And you said at 26, you started coming out. And that's when I started studying astrology very, very heavily. And you said there was a huge jump around the year 20, when you were 35. That's when I met my husband. I went suddenly to 100. First, at 26, I jumped to 100, fear. Then it went to anger, and I started a lot of self-work. These were 10 years, from 26 till 35. These were 10 years I was steeped in self-growth. All I did was study, vision boards, prayers, visualizing a better everything, you know. And then when I met my husband, it's just like, it's a shift. I feel a lot more joy. I feel a lot more happy. I'm a different person. I feel I've lived 10 lives. That's what I can say.
Yes, yes. And then we attract alike as well, right? So it's you were already at that frequency, at a frequency high enough to attract what you were seeking.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why
and my
he came.
husband is also 400. So you said when frequencies are the same, couples really get well together. When one is high, one is low, it might be karmic, you know. And
Yeah, you guys are a vibrational match. Actually, I would say the big catapult, when you said you were doing vision boards and studying, is that 150 frequency, which is the frequency of anger. We noticed through all the readings that we've done, it is one of the most powerful frequencies to either catapult you as a jumping board to go up into higher vibrations or drop back down. And you did it. And this is, you know, your journey is what we call the hero's journey. It is so beautiful. It is so inspiring. And it actually redefines everything that we're told, you know, that you have to be a certain way in order to live your life. But there is no right formula. There is no right ingredients, you know. The beauty of life, the beauty of having the experience on this planet is being able to experience as much as possible. And that's, to us, is really life beautifully lived. And you are that gorgeous example of what is possible for every human being to let go of shame, to let go of preconceived notions of what the world expects of you, and therefore you expect it from yourself. But it's really being inspired by yourself. So for us, I'm curious to know what inspired you to shift, because I'm sure a lot of people will say, well, how did you get out of the 55 frequency? Like, what truly inspired you to pull yourself out of that?
I started praying like my grandma taught me. And I started praying to God to give me something that is my passion, because I was so lost. And I discovered astrology, and I kept, and then I discovered the visualization, spiritual work, and little by little it all came, and I started applying it. I was not very rigorous, but it was daily, because I had all day long. I was working night shifts always. I was in nightclubs. I was drugs, addiction, about a lot of drinking. And I was like, during the day, I'm like, I have to pull myself out of that dirt. It felt like slime on me. And I would just dive into those things. And little by little, I think a combination of astrology, of prayer, of of suddenly started attracting better people who are not there just to use me. They were not there to manipulate me. And I started trusting more in people. And I kept doing special visualizations, maybe 5-10 minutes per day, but it worked gradually. I even had like a vision board, and I made a mind movie that it was running behind my screen when I was on laptop. It was constantly kind of faded with affirmations, with all the things I wanted. And I checked it a couple of years ago, and it's everything that I wrote there. It has happened twice as much, twice. So these things work. It's slow. It was very slow. I was not seeing the change, but from crying every day, it wasn't even crying. You're just apathetic. You don't care. I was ready to die. I was like, I don't care if I live or die. I don't care if I have children. Obviously, I'm never going to have any profession or meaning. You're just kind of like whatever, what's the point of it all? And to pull yourself to this, to feel this warmth here, this joy of life. It's such a different shift in consciousness. So it's beautiful. I'm so grateful to God. It's not for everyone to go to such extremes. I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm extreme. I'm Aries. I want to experience the worst, the best. So give it to me.
You're allowed. Your life's journey. But one thing I want to say that's in your vibrational frequency very clearly, and this is exactly what you just talked about, is we always look for the guiding light in people's charts, right? When we read. In your case, personal growth, you are at 750, which is the frequency of enlightenment. So I would say this has been your guiding light your entire life, that your commitment to your own personal enlightenment is what has brought you and helped you transcend all those frequencies that you've experienced throughout your life. Yes. And this is magical and beautiful, and it's you.
Yes, that's why you were able to identify that there was something greater than that which you were experiencing at the time, right? And we begin judging ourselves or pointing out the difference or the gap from where we're at and to where we want to go or what we want to experience and feel. So, but one can only do that once you somewhat, on a deeper level, you recognize there is something bigger, right? And we all have that ability to do that. But your commitment to personal growth is what definitely, like Elena said, was your guiding light and kept you open, with your eyes open, and continue to search for that feeling, right? That was coming to the surface here and there. And the more you were, the closer you were to that, that actually empowered you to continue, with discipline and searching for that, which you have already found.
Now it's this. They ask me, what do you do for fun, for pleasure? I say, personal growth. I listen to lectures, I learn it. It's beyond love. Like you say, it's a transcendence or enlightenment. It's I don't even have to love it or make myself do it. That's what I constantly do on the toilet when the kids are whatever. I'm learning new techniques, whatever. So definitely that's my highest vibration. But let's get back to the order that you do it. We'll go fast so we don't, people.
Okay, so we look at, of course, at health. There's many areas of life we look at, and this is an important area to look at because it gives a person an insight. It doesn't give you an insight of how healthy or unhealthy someone is, but it gives you an insight of how do you view those areas of your life. So in your case, health you viewed at that time when we did the reading through the lens of 400 reason. So again, this is employing your intellect into making decisions in areas regarding your health. Same thing for finances. Finances you view through the lens of 400 reason. Yeah. Creativity.
I feel very confident with finances. I know that, and also with health, I know if I get sick, I know what to do. Just I don't always have the desire to do it, but I started working with Elena for the first time. I'm loving doing things for health. She measured again with scalar wave technology what foods I was intolerant to, what kind of disbalances were in my body, and we started the diet, and I'm transforming. It's crazy. Like I don't get hungry, I don't get cravings. I live on ether and love or something. So she does healings as well. It's incredible. But yeah, let's get back. And now I know that with money, I know if I need 1 million in a year, I know how to do it. And before, if you measured me probably 10 years ago, I would be at 50 of fear. I was my biggest fear, my biggest, I was scared of money. I felt undeserving. I'm sure at money, I was one of the lowest thing. And I felt I was as worth as much as I have. And because I had nothing, I would be ashamed to enter a shop because I thought they would judge me. They would see that I don't have money. What am I doing in this expensive shop? And I would never do it. And people with money, I would not dare talk to them. I would not dare look them in the eye because I thought they were better human beings or something, or they're higher human beings, not better. It's incredible how my attitude towards money shifted. And it's now reason I know if I need it, I will do it, and I know how to do it. So this is absolutely true. So you can shift. If you, in my astrologically, my chart shows big problems with money, and I shifted. If I can do it, even if I was homeless, I came up from a poor family, I was an immigrant. If I've done that, everyone can. Well, maybe not everyone. You have to be a bit crazy and mad and want to grow and change, and you want to do like self-growth. I did a lot of visualizations for money and stuff like that, and prayers. You can do it. And now I'm wealthy. I can say I'm wealthy. So, and I don't care about money so much. It's not my idol anymore. It's just, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, you did it. Good for you. That's why I said you're a beautiful example of what's possible for every human being at whatever frequency they're at. Creativity. You've used in your creativity, and I always say creativity is inspiration in action. It's whatever inspires you. How do you act upon it? And in your case, it's love. So you express your creativity in a loving way. You have this love relationship with your creativity. So it's beautiful. I'm sure you employ it in your work.
Oh, I love doing videos and writing for those. It's like being in love, like having a romantic relationship. It makes me feel like a girl.
Yes. Now relationships. So relationships. When we first read, you were 175, which is a frequency of pride. And this is how you relate to others, but it had to do with also, we always say it's how you relate to yourself. And I'm sure it will be interesting to recheck that area, because I feel you've shifted out of that too, because you're in this love, right, expansion phase at the moment, and you've been going through this. But what's 175 is pride. So perhaps you want to say something about this area.
That was first, I was shocked. I was thinking I was this loving person. I was so kind to everyone. And this made me dig deep. And that's when a big breakthrough happened, because I started reading how Dr. Hawkins defined pride. And he said, pride is when you care what people think of you, when you try to please them, when you care what they'll say about you. And I know that when I would have before negative comments, there'll be 1,000 good ones, one negative ones. Lada is a charlatan, or Lada, whatever. And that's it. I would focus on it. I would get moody. I would cry out there. I'd say, my husband, go get me some beers or wine. And he's like, look at the other 1,000. I'm like, no, I'm like, my pride. And I'll write a few answers, delete them, and say, no, I'm above it. I'm not going to fall to that level. I'm so prideful. And I'm working on that constantly now. And it still hurts, but it so much hurts. I'm so sensitive what others think of me. And because I also grew in an environment where you're very judged by your appearances, what kind of clothes you wear, what brands you wear, and that's also pride. It's very about external appearances, and I'm trying to shake it off, and I think I'm shaking it off because I'm in pajamas most days. No, but it's definitely, and with relationships, someone would hurt me, I'll turn my back and never look back at them. And there is interesting correspondence with astrology. My 7th house of relationships is in Leo. And like you will find out next time we'll do the 12 signs and the planets, one of the main vibrations of Leo is pride. One of the pitfalls that Leo can fall into is pride. So I definitely approached, and hopefully it can change. I see everything else can change, but that was my lesson.
Absolutely. Having awareness is what creates change.
Exactly.
So as I think this is the beauty of these vibrational frequency readings, is the gift of giving people an opportunity to set themselves free, right? Because it's really our own worst critics, our own judges, right? The judge, the jury, and the executioner. So it's really about allowing people to peak. One of the guys told us, we give an opportunity for people to peek behind their own curtains.
Yes.
Right?
Become aware. And if you're someone like our viewers here, they're all into self-growth. If they're into astrology is the tool for self-growth. It gives you answers. Where do I suck at? And how can I change it? We work with remedies a lot. And you're doing exactly the same, but in such a clear way. And when I found out that I was so in relationship, we started daily talking with my husband, and he said, like, they're actually quite right. And he started giving me examples, and I started going back and back, and I'm like, yes, this is it. So I started focusing on, when I'm being criticized or told things, I'm bless them, because I was very delusional. I thought I would be very high on relationships. And I was so surprised, and I started the work and I started feeling shifts, but I still have it. It's very kind of strong still in me. So don't you go writing bad things on my website.
And actually, we will give you why. It makes sense why. This has to do with something else we discovered we will share with you today. And this gives a deeper insight into why that happens. So personal growth, we know you're committed to enlightenment, personal enlightenment, 750. Philanthropy. Here's probably what you thought about relationships. Philanthropy is a love frequency for you, 500. So this has to do with how you share. You truly share, from your heart. And this is why you thought of relationship area would be so high, because it is. You give to people, right? You're a giver, natural born giver.
That's what I was taught. I said, like, I would spend hours with friends out giving gift, like I want, but this is philanthropy. And relationships, I'm very guarded, actually. Everyone says, oh, you're so friendly and nice, but you keep yourself away, because I've been hurt so many times that I'm still kind of like, I'd rather be a bit distant than be hurt. And I understand why the vibrations are low, but yeah, I love to give. So
yes. Intuition. So here's another beautiful gift I think you probably have had your whole life. And that's another part that has helped you transcend and help you on your journey to where you are today. And that's your intuition. So intuition has to do with, okay, not how intuitive and psychic you are, but it has to do with how much do you trust your inner guidance and take action upon it, right? So in your case, this is a frequency of enlightenment, 700. Incredible. So it shows that you've trusted, or perhaps you've learned to trust throughout years, your inner voice, your inner compass, which is so
I'm
beautiful.
constantly looking for signs. If we're talking about something and wondering, should we do this or that, and we hear a siren, and I'm like, it's a siren, that's not a good sign. Or I constantly see them. I started paying attention to them 10 years ago, 12, and it's incredible. And then when I start recording a video, I prepare something, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk this, and then suddenly a new thought comes while I'm shooting, and I'm like, I have to say that, but it's going to upset people. It's going to upset people. Bleh. And I say it. And then people say, thank you so much. And it comes in and it goes and happens. Like with 2020, I said dictatorial measures. Everyone will be very limited. There'll be financial crisis. And I never prepared to say that. I'm like, why do I have to say that? Why? And that was 2019. And I went and I said it. And maybe that's what trusting your intuition is.
Yes, the more you trust it, the more it flows as well,
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, I noticed that. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's all about tuning in, So we are all tapped in and turned on by default, and we just have to tune in. And first, we have to know what we want to, or what information we're searching for, or wanting to receive, and then it's just a matter of tuning into the right radio station, the right frequency, right? We can't look for rock and roll. Expect to listen to rock and roll when we're on AM and listening to a gospel station, right? So it's all about tuning in, and since you trust it that much, it just flows.
But a lot of people call it wishful thinking. They say, yeah, if you want to see a red car, you will see a red car everywhere you turn. And they're like, but this is how you create your own reality. You create your own special universe that talks to you. That's how I see it.
Yes.
That's right. I agree. Now we go into percentages now, is because it's not based on a predominant emotion, right? When it comes to the first numbers, as of your overall frequency, your level of consciousness, and also the numbers from each aspect that Elena has mentioned, those numbers are based on a predominant emotion, right? And that will, of course, the negative emotions or unprocessed emotions will create the level of resistance that you're experiencing in each aspect, if you are. If it is below 200, right? Especially below 200. But these numbers are also in relation to your own potential, to your own untapped potential per se, right? If you're experiencing too much resistance, there is, you know, that you have a big gap, you know, from 200 to 1,000 being the maximum. You have 800 to where you can actually expand and enhance the flow to experience a better feeling. No? So that's why we cannot compare our numbers with anyone else's numbers. Even if we have the exact same numbers, everyone experiences it differently and feels the resistance or the flow in a different way, right?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to percentages, now we begin with in the joy. So how much you are enjoying the role that you're playing in this lifetime, in this reality. And it's at 93% for you.
It's pretty good.
I'm a party girl. I'm enjoying it.
Party girl. Yes.
That's wonderful. And we believe or feel that the purpose of life is joy, right? To enjoy it. And it doesn't matter how low or high your vibrational frequency is, you can enjoy it to the fullest either way.
Because you've made a lot of readings of people that are in very low vibrations, 30s, 50s. They, as we call them, they come here with the mission of a shadow. And they enjoy, a lot of them enjoy that. Like they enjoy doing, you know, weapons of mass destructions or crimes against humanity. They're getting a kick out of them, you know, so that's,
yes.
It doesn't correlate with your level of consciousness. And like you always say, I love that you say, don't judge such people. They, as you see after that, there is something called divine purpose. A lot of those people coming with almost like what you'd call evil roles, they actually are like on point with their divine purpose. So the roles are divided up there and saying, this time you will be the body, this time you will be the good one. So this
exactly,
is
yes. Everyone is playing an important role, right? And then without the shadows or the shadow roles, the light wouldn't be rising, right, or expanding. So it's just we have to decide of which team we want to be members of, right, or what side we want to be on. Standing on the side of the shadows or standing on the side of the light, right?
Oh, we won't be fun without the shadow. You and me wouldn't have work. If everything was love and light, no one would be listening to us. We need the evil, the shadow.
Yes. It creates contrast, right? Which is detrimental for the human experience. So that's wonderful. Imagine, I always say this, you're acting the role that you decided to play in this reality, and you are on a stage in a theater, right? On stage, performing this act, and your inner goddess, your inner being, your higher self, is seated in the audience watching you perform. And so in your case, a 93% means that every 100 moves, your inner goddess is clapping 93 times.
Oh, I love the description. That's perfect. Perfect for my Leo moon. Like, yeah.
Wonderful. Yes, wonderful. Now, when it comes to being in the present moment or in the now, right? You are at 88%. Okay, so 88% of the time you're in the present moment. You remain connected with your inner goddess, right? With your divine essence. You're not being pulled out of the present moment, you know, usually by thinking or reminding yourself of past experiences, more than likely unpleasant, or worrying that those experiences might be repeated in the near future, right? Mm-hmm. So that is a very important, I feel, they can help you transcend your current level of consciousness, right? So remain there for as long as possible.
I used to worry a lot, and it has stopped. And I used to worry a lot. I've never been someone regretting the past. I would kind of forget. And I say, oh, I was actually burying it. But I was always constantly there. And I stopped doing that. I'm not worrying much. So that's beautiful.
Yes. That's why this number. Now, when it comes to in the ego, we measure how much you're paying attention to the ego, right? The most famous wanted bachelor, the ego. And, you know, all these thoughts that bring resistance is what we have labeled as ego, right? Any thought that is pulling you away from the present moment, or that it is bringing you self-doubt, and you tend to overanalyze, right? What comes to you, and tend to activate this self-defensive mechanism, like giving you the illusion of keeping you safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rather from repeating a past experience, or experiencing the wrong things, supposedly, right? Based on these thoughts. Now, in the ego, you are at 91%,
Yeah.
right?
Hi.
So it has been, what we'll say, your shield of protection, right? Like you say, in the earlier years, especially,
Mm.
you needed it so much to prevent you from. You were paying attention so much to this voice because you didn't want to repeat past experiences that were unpleasant, especially, and because it gave you the illusion of keeping you safe. It became, with so much practice, that you somewhat became one with it, right? It became the norm
Yeah.
because you used it for so long. But it is that number is going down as you experience more flow, and you're already feeling that shift,
Yeah.
right? Now, within the ego, at 91%, we also measure the superior ego and the inferior ego. Okay, the superior ego is those thoughts that bring resistance, that are telling you that you are it. No one knows astrology better than you. No one can teach you anything, right? And there's nothing to be learned. That's right. That you are the last Coca-Cola on the desert.
That's not Lada's
But
case.
you are there.
I'm like, someone gets a lot more views than me. I start comparing myself, and I'm like, what should I do to that? I have a weakness of
So
mine. I'm proud of.
Out of the 91%, only 2% represent the superior ego for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the 98% represents the inferior ego, which is the one that is telling you, that voice that is telling you that you're not enough. It doesn't matter how you do it, how well you do it, and why you're doing it, and when you do it, is never going to be enough, right? And we tend to become our worst self critics,
Yeah.
right? And so maybe also might have some tendencies of being a perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible, right?
Painful state, yeah, because I take one day off and then I start beating myself up. The business gonna fall apart without you. People stop gonna watching you, and it's ridiculous how it's, yeah.
Exactly. So the more you honor yourself, the more you honor your inner voice. It's like, imagine having an imaginary friend, and we've had, I think all of us have had one at one point. Is that it's telling you, don't do this because it doesn't matter how you do it. You're not ready for it. You're not prepared enough. It's not going to work. No one is going to like it, right? So just silence that voice. Silence that voice and just follow your inner guidance, which you have already somewhat mastered that. Not only with personal growth, but also you have more than enough trust when it comes to your intuition, of the aspect of your intuition at 700, right? So now identify how you were able to master that aspect, so you can replicate that when it comes to listening to this imaginary friend that is telling you you're not good enough, or
Catching.
it's not enough. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's silence the voice of the outside world and raise up the volume of your inner voice to the highest level possible. Yeah? Now, when it comes to integrity, why do I always have to deliver
You
this
do.
news? No. Integrity, you are at 100%.
Wow.
100% in the highest. So
Good.
that means you're in full integrity. You're a trustworthy person, solid, honest. You mean what you say. And you're fully loyal and faithful to your own core values and beliefs.
It's incredible because I wasn't like that. I used to lie a lot in my 20s. As a way, I would say I'm from a different country, so people don't judge me. I used to lie to protect myself. And you asked me, what is it that started this? Uh, I made the vow that I would start not saying lies, even the smallest ones. It took me maybe 7 years to think I'm okay, but I did this consciously because I was like, I was telling different life stories to every person. I was saying I was from different countries. I was sometimes even using different names. Can you believe that? And I was like, I can't live. And you feel like your energy is flowing out. You're weakening. I was also constantly attracting people that were lying to me as well, that were dishonest, that were not integrity. They promise something, always falls through. So I read that you have to be absolute honesty. And I started doing it little by little. Even nowadays, I catch myself saying to the kids, go to sleep, or Baba Yaga will come, or the monsters will come. And I'm like, no, this is a lie. So I stop myself and I say, go to sleep or I'll be upset. you know so even I don't want to do it. I believe that even such kind of a white lie has a vibration that lowers you down. And I believe that when I think about it, that's one of the biggest things that helped me rise up, because I made a vow to God and myself that I would, and it wasn't immediate. As I said, maybe it took 10 years to, and now I feel comfortable with being totally honest. Actually, now I can't sleep if I feel like misled someone. I'll write to them and I'll apologize. I'll say, I'm so sorry. It becomes so natural. It becomes doing the opposite immediately puts such discordance, and it's like my whole heart closes off. It's weird. Before, it must have been constantly closed off, constantly in a contracted state. This is not a way to live, guys. If you want fast jump forward, start being honest. I mean, like, don't be hurtful to others. Sometimes just be quiet if you don't want to hurt someone, but be as honest as possible. If you overslept for a meeting, say, I overslept. Don't say, oh, I was sick, whatever. So it starts with those little things, and then it becomes so natural to you that doing the opposite, you're like, no. Anyway, sorry.
No, thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
we can't expect what we don't give or embrace or practice or believe in, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, when it comes to self-awareness, you are at 96%. You're very self-aware of what's happening in the outer world and the inner world, right? When it comes to clarity, you are at 98%. Also, you have a clear vision of also your mission in life and the path that you're on, right?
Very
So you're not a doubtful person. You know what your target is. As they will say this, maybe in Texas, you're a straight shooter.
Yes, I have very clear vision what I want. Yeah. I didn't before, but I worked on it. So
Wonderful. Now, your alignment with your divine purpose, and this is how well you're playing the divine role you decided to play in this lifetime, is at 98%.
I can die now.
No, not right now, please.
I've done all I have to. And I have to remind people that even people that are in the shadow, they might vibrate sometimes. You've measured politicians, people in power, very beloved figures for many people, idols almost, and they'll be at 50, which is deception or whatever. And they'll have, sometimes I'll be shocked, they'll have like 98% alignment to divine purpose. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, and you say, because that was the role they came to play here. God will give them a medal when they go there and say, well done. So
Yes. We call it the Oscar nomination, you know?
yes, the Oscar nomination. Yes.
Yes. Perfect. And now, when it comes to your alignment with your personal purpose, you are at 100%. So you're in full alignment with your personal purpose, and almost in full alignment with your divine purpose, which I think is definitely beautifully done. and just amazing to enjoy the most and to be as close as we can to be in full alignment, not only with our divine purpose, but also your personal purpose. It really is a beautiful journey. Yes.
Awesome.
Now, and the personal purpose is in relation to your personal goals or everything that you wanted to experience that you have experienced up to this point, right?
Yeah.
And also your overall feeling towards life in general. And as it is, everything in all these numbers are really in relation to how you feel towards life in general and towards your relationship with each aspect of your life. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, when it comes to compassion, you are at 100%. And this, we didn't give this to you before. This,
Yeah,
we
I
just did.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, because we have
Added that
recently
to our reading.
incorporated this a few more measurements to the
Yeah.
new. Yeah? So 100%. That's is in line to what you were sharing with us earlier. That your journey of experiencing different frequencies, being at very low levels, and able to transcend those levels, that you can really relate with people, right?
Judge
On a
anyone.
deeper level and understand them, where they come from and what they need, and support them, and without judgment. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Empathy, 100%.
What is the
This,
difference between empathy and compassion?
well, empathy is really part of the human of humanity as an arsenal, right? We're able to
It's like a
feel.
sense. It's a sense
It's a
radar.
sense, like a radar, exactly.
Okay,
So
like I feel okay. So I can
It's
give
like
you an example. I went to the hospital once and someone had a heart attack in front of me and I had exactly the same symptoms. Is that what empathy is? My
yes.
yes,
face froze, my hand froze, and I was like, doctor said, nothing's wrong with you. I was like, I am having a stroke or whatever the other person was having. I was certain. So okay, that's it. So I shouldn't stay around sick people too much.
I experienced the same with Elena's dad, actually.
Oh wow.
The day before we left to France, we were celebrating her sister's birthday and having dinner, and I was experiencing although I was experiencing symptoms before that, like heart symptoms. But this day was, oh my God, I'm going to die here in front of everyone, But I didn't want to say anything, not to worry anyone. It happens to be a few days later, we're in France, in Paris to be exact, and her sister called in saying that they had to take her dad to the hospital because he had a heart attack. So
he was experiencing it
I
all.
was experiencing it all a couple of days before that happened. Yes.
So that is what empathy is, basically.
Yes.
It can be between mother and child or everyone, yeah.
Yes, but here's one thing we recognize, because now we're able to distinguish when people are narcissists very clearly. So narcissists have an ability, they're highly empathic because that's their predator kind of navigation system.
It's like sonar, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but their compassion is low.
Yes.
Oh.
Their ego is at 100%, and usually is 100% in the superior ego.
Wow. So people can come to you, give you a picture, say, is this a narcissist? Should I date him? And you can say, oh, no.
We can do that. We actually can read it to say, yes.
Well, we don't tell people what to do, but we show them the frequencies, and it is very, very clear.
Oh,
right?
you did for me the house frequency. I showed you 2 pictures of 2 houses I'm trying to buy. And you showed me, you said one is like 500 love, the other one is 200. And my parents, before you told me that, they said they went inside the 2 houses, said this one that you told me, said it's just made out of love. You can feel it. And we're buying that house. So you can measure everything, houses, land. You told me how much EMF there was there. It's like people can use this amazing.
Entities, right? If your house had entities.
And I was like, it's very close to a burial something, and you said, no, there's no entities, don't worry. So I'm glad. If I see ghosts in my house, I want a disclaimer.
You can ask for your money back.
For the whole house.
Now, the next one is energy purity. Energy purity is a great indicator that tells us how ready you are to shift to a higher level of consciousness, right?
That's
And
my
you are at 96%,
wow.
100% being the highest. And this means you are in the 90s territory. That's a wonderful thing. And you're approaching, right, the 100% mark. And I will say that maybe right now you have already shifted because
It would be good to check.
you're you know exactly where you stand, or you knew exactly where you were standing when it comes to the resistance you were experiencing at the time when we did the reading. And since you decided to nurture more the aspect of relationships, and that really, which is the only number that is showing signs of force there, and more than likely you have definitely transcended, you know, and the next level up for you will be from 400 up to 500, which is love frequency, where love becomes the predominant emotion, right?
Yeah, it doesn't mean if you're in a low frequencies that you never feel joy or love, the high vibrations, but you're not there all the time. It means maybe you feel it once a week for a little bit. But something's been happening in the last 2 months. It's not every day, but I find myself once or twice a week, those waves of joy at nothing, just sitting there with my cup of tea and like feeling love. Like Elena texts to me and I feel those vibrations of love, or my parents would call and I'm like, wow, what is that? It just feels so great. It's like it runs through your whole body, and it's a kind of bit orgasmic type of thing. I'm not saying, but it's spiritual orgasmic. It's
You're happy.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I know Alejandro will say to me sometimes, you're always happy, or most of the time. I'm like, I feel it, because that becomes part of your being. Every single day. You just feel happy to be, you know?
But you do get grumpy and you do get upset. It's normal, isn't it?
I get upset, I'll snap out of it.
No.
Yes, yes. Of course. But I come out of it pretty quick.
So that's the difference. You're still gonna feel anger and stress and all the negative feelings, but get yourself out of it. But if you're at a low vibration, you get angry and the whole day's lost, basically.
Exactly. Yes, it matters. It is, like I said, it's all about the feeling, right? And it is as of when those emotions are being triggered. How do you feel when those emotions are being triggered? And then how long you decide to bathe in them, right? Especially the negative. If you bathe in them for too long, then they become the predominant emotion, and that is what dictates your level of consciousness, right?
It's so crazy what you said, because I remember when those things happen at school. I told you at 17, 16, with the heartbreak and then the sexual assault and the bullying at school. When the first 2-3 months, I was of course devastated, crying, but after that I started liking that feeling, and I would go in front of the mirror and milk it and cry for hours and make myself every day. There's sadistic, masochistic pleasure in feeling pain that you start getting familiar with, and I did this for a year and a half, and ever since, that vibration for 10 years was very low. I was just attracting very difficult things after that. And after that, I consciously decided I'm not gonna milk and wallow in that self-pity. I just love to look in the mirror and cry and self-pity, and when I started, the pain started going away. I'm like, no. And I'll start thinking and remembering and the drama. It's crazy how we dig our own hole when I start remembering now. And I'm like, and you dig out yourself out of it as well. So yeah, guys, I know there's perverse pleasure in feeling sorry and and those, and being angry at someone for a long time or hating someone a long time, but that becomes your predominant vibration, and all you have to start attracting is the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, when you actually bathe in those emotions and you hate somebody else, ultimately what you're doing is hating yourself, because we're all connected. So the energy that you project out is really the energy that you direct towards self. And this is the difference between what I call the hijacking of the matrix, the victim, versus, right, feeling free. Free, because you can experience all kinds of emotions, but know that you're not a slave to those emotions.
You're not trapped there. That's what it is. You might be in the
Yes.
500 by say, I'm going to be sad today. I don't care. For a few hours, I'll be sad. But tomorrow, I'm going to have a party.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. And then we
Exactly.
measured dimensions for
Now,
you.
dimensions. We didn't do this for you before. Now we have it. So, as of on what dimensions you are experiencing life, right? And this the third dimension, the fourth dimension, and 40% on the fifth dimension, right? And we have measured at the same time the vibrational frequency of each dimension. And to be in the dimension, the fifth dimension, your vibrational frequency has to be around 525.
Oh, wow.
But that's why in your case it's only 40%, because those are the moments when you are doing anything related to your aspect of personal growth and your aspect of philanthropy, intuition, creativity. You are already at 500, and then 750 in personal growth and 700 in intuition, you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
and the fifth dimension, it really is a free zone judgment or non-judgmental zone in a way.
So it's not like you're beamed to another planet. When people say, oh, we're going to the fifth dimension, people write to me and they say, are people going to disappear and they're going to go somewhere else? No, fifth dimension is a state of being. It's being
Exactly.
about 525, which is being in love. Love is the 500.
Yes.
Yes, no frequency of 500, yes.
Yes.
You're a lot of people are already in the fifth dimension predominantly. And when you're in the vibration of love, life is love. All you see is beautiful. All you attract and all things that happen to you are lovely things, basically. And that's how it's so different to someone at 100. Anger or fear, I forgot what it was.
Fear.
Everything
Yes.
they'll see is fear. Everything they'll see, this is a scary world. Everyone is after me. The viruses, the government, whatever. And when you're at 500, you're like,
Right, right. You recognize your own power. And below 200, you give your power away, right? And you're expecting the world to create peace so you can feel it. Above 200, you start recognizing that you create the peace, and the peace has to, you have to feel the peace within you, and then your perspective of life will be a peaceful perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So the power is yours. Exactly.
Exactly. Always.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I don't think we'll have time today for Russell Brand, and we can do them. I really want to invite Alejandro and Elena for a series of those. And next time when you come, we'll do the 12 signs and the planets, the vibration of each of them. And then you can start maybe saying requests as well, what you want us to check vibrationally, what Elena and Alejandro. But I just wanted to end with talking about humanity, the vibration of humanity, because this gave me so much hope, especially in those dark times when we're against each other, when a lot of people are fearful that we're going into technocracy, that we're going into AI control, that we're going to be enslaved by evil forces, whatever you want to call it. And that the Atlantis story will repeat, that we're losing it, and that the creator will destroy us or will destroy ourselves. And I want to give you some hope with Alejandro and Elena's findings.
Yes. All right. So we measured, there's several criteria, of course, we applied in measuring the collective. And actually, when we read the collective, I don't know if you had tears. I had tears in my eyes because it was so beautiful. The story of humanity is so beautiful. So I would say, I would call us babies at the moment because our collective overall frequency is 230, which is the frequency of courage. So right now, humanity is standing on the verge, actually on a platform, walking through the bridge of courage. So we're opening our wings, okay?
We're on the threshold, exactly, yeah, towards self-empowerment. Can I ask you, I think you said you've been checking humanity for the last few hundred years and they haven't changed much. We've been for 1,000.
Yes, thousands of years, Sometimes we see little spikes up and down, but overall we've remained pretty steady, maybe from 200, 205 to 230 now. Like in the last year, we probably shifted 5 to 10 points.
Wow.
Okay.
Isn't a way for thousands of years we were the same, but listen what's happening. Oh, I'm so happy.
But this is the beautiful part of what's happening with humans, because we applied this scale of consciousness looking at how, as humanity, as a collective, as one species, how do we relate, the area of relationships, right? Because that's critical. And we relate through the lens of courage, 200. Now, as humanity, as a collective, we're fully committed to enlightenment. And this is the difference between us and the collective of Atlanteans that we read. It's at 750. So our collective commitment to personal growth is at 750, which is exactly like you, Lada. So that is enlightenment. That means that there is a hand, right? Or it's our collective hand that is guiding us as a collective through this entire journey.
But people are crazy. They're crazy about self-growth. They're looking for going to psychologists, about looking at the past. Like this shows me what a huge awakening. People want to get better. They believe you can get better. This is self-growth. And they're trying in any possible way.
Yes. Creativity. So it shows as a collective, we're incredibly creative. Our creativity is at an enlightenment frequency, 700. Beautiful.
And you measured a lot of other civilizations. You measured, you measured civilizations from other stars, Sirius, Andromeda, whatever. You measured probably 30 different ones. And we're one of the highest. That's why we're so unique. We're one of the most creative species in this universe.
Yes.
And the others, very few of them had such high levels of desire for self-growth. We, like humans, have. A lot of them had higher vibrations than human, 400, high reason, high knowledge. They were not creative. They did not want to get better. They did not want to self-improve. And it shows how different it is, why we're the darlings of the universe. Yes, we're beyond consciousness, but we're eager to get better. And we're like a child. We're full of creativity and give me the crayons and love. And sorry.
Yes, exactly. Well said. Now, the intuitive part for humanity is an invitation, because we're at 250 as a collective. Again, this is the level of neutrality. So we've surpassed the courage into neutrality. So it became a place of, like, in a way, complacency. And I would say it's an invitation for us as humans to begin to trust ourselves, to follow the inner voice, to not necessarily rely on the outside sources. Like we have the media sources that are telling us what to do, but know that the divine guidance is really within. And this is an invitation for humanity to awaken to that full potential that we are. Energy purity, we looked at the humanity's collective energy purity is at 64.
How ready we are to change?
Yes. So right now we're at 64%. Okay. So a lot has to happen, a lot of shift. And I feel the shift, we both feel the shift has to happen is how we relate to each other. So right now we're living through times of, it's them versus us, right? It's this religion versus this religion. It's this political party versus this. It's recognizing that no one is against anyone. We're all here to unite, and we are all one. Okay. And this is the realization that we all has to happen. So relationships have to shift for us. We have to embrace ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves and love each other. Okay.
Yes. That is the removal of judgment, right? And it has to begin with us, without removing self-judgment in order not to judge the rest.
Because it's reflection, how you feel about you, about others. Exactly.
Right.
Integrity for the collective human species right now is at 75%. So this is how loyal are we to our core values and beliefs, right? So of course there is room for growth and improvement, right? But it's pretty good. So when you learn to love yourself, you learn to trust yourself, this is where you will no longer stand by anything less than being fully in your integrity, in our collective human integrity, claiming the space of being on this planet as beautiful beings of this planet Earth, because our planet Earth, by the way, is at the frequency of 700.
Mhm.
So we are living on a sentient being planet. Beautiful,
The Earth is
enlightened.
already much higher than us. She's just waiting for us to catch up with her.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes.
Amazing.
Divine purpose. So how aligned are we as a collective with our divine role that we're playing in this universe, and perhaps all the other universes and galaxies and beings are observing us? So we are at 94% alignment. So that's
we're
incredible.
doing good. We're
Doing-
right on time with God's plans.
Yes.
We're not fucking it up like we did.
No, no, we're not. Atlanteans did, and we'll give you the numbers.
That is, I would say that is always the case, you know, because the universe is looking for balance, and only we feel that everything is going south or way the opposite of what we, because it is the opposite of what we think it should be like, how it's supposed to be, right?
Mhm.
Otherwise, we will see it as is, that it is falling into place in divine timing and in perfectly well orchestrated.
Look what happened to humanity. We've never been worse. And God says, well done. God is in the audience saying 95%, 94% of the time he's clapping. But all we see in the news is what we're doing wrong. But guys,
Right.
remember, we're 95%, 94% on point.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
We have to shift our focus, right?
So God destroys us when we're low, when we're not very aligned. And that's
Well,
what happened.
actually, with Atlanteans, that's what happened, because they were out of alignment with their
Mhm.
divine purpose.
Yes.
And they had a much higher vibration though, but yeah,
They did. Yes. So personal purpose for humanity, where we are as collective, right? For our own ambitious goals, right? We could say everything we've gone through and where we are today is at 90%. So that's also pretty good. So I would say we're actually better off from a divine perspective, right? We are absolutely flowing and following the divine path of where we are supposed to be as humans. So take a deep breath as a collective.
No matter what is happening, guys, we're doing the right thing. So
Yes,
this is beautiful.
we looked at compassion, how compassionate we are as species. 96%.
And that's what so other species didn't have. Compassion was so low with them. They had a lot of empathy. So you said they were like predators. They could snip
Yes.
their, especially the more predatory alien civilizations. But humans had, wow. I know. That's why when you see a picture of a child in Africa, people take out their money and send money. And
Yes, yes, people feel it. And we're 100% empath as species. This is so beautiful. You know, the message really is to trust, to begin to trust yourself, to begin to trust that everything is falling into place the way it's meant to be. And love each other. Really, that's the message.
that's the most.
Wake up to the beauty that we are. Yeah.
We're doing a great job, guys. We're the most creative species. We're the most empathetic, the most compassionate species. We're full of desire for self-growth. We're doing, God says you're doing 90%, 94% to the plan. And maybe you can show why the Atlanteans fell through.
Yes.
Because
And one other thing, because people want to know how much we are in 5D. So 5D, we're 16% as a collective in 5D. So yes, humans are shifting.
yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
16%.
Oh, 16%. What did I say?
No, I'll just repeat
yeah,
it.
16%. Atlanteans. So let's quickly talk about Atlanteans. I think this is important because people are saying that we're repeating the Atlantean karma, and we actually are not. So Atlanteans' overall frequency was 525. This is at the peak of their civilization, right? Which is love. They related to others through intellect, 450 reason. Personal growth to them was at joy frequency, 540. So this is a big difference. Having relationship to personal growth from a joy perspective or being fully committed to enlightenment. Okay.
Oh, so we're way more. We're actually more. They enjoy doing it. Ooh, let's go pray in the temple, and we're like, we gotta pray or we're gonna die. No, we're like, no. That's the most important thing for us. We gotta make ourselves better.
Yes, creativity. Here's also a huge difference. Creatively, they were at 540, which is joy. We are as a collective at 700. So we're also enlightened in the way that we are. It's a very big difference, okay? So we've learned a lot. Their intuition was higher, okay, 525. Now, their integrity, this is a very interesting part. The integrity of the Atlanteans were 36%. So they were out of integrity.
Wow.
Huh?
So they had all this beautiful vibration, those beautiful world, but they didn't care to keep up to the principles the principles of whatever love and that, yeah.
And probably some of the things that you hear, you know, the stories of genetic manipulation that was happening, right? The cross breeding between species that was happening. I'm sure that has to do with the integrity at 36%.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, they were totally out of alignment of their divine purpose at 57%, whereas collective humans, we are at 94.
Okay.
So they were out of alignment with the divine plan.
Oh, and that's why God said, deluge time, Noah, take the ark, and the rest are going under. Wow.
Yes. So, but they achieved their personal purpose at 100%. So they were very goal oriented, right? But completely out of alignment, which we see often now when we read a lot of public figures. And it actually is very clear when somebody is in personal alignment, their ego is very high. They're out of alignment with their divine purpose, right? And they're out of integrity too, which is also very interesting to see. Their compassion was lower than humanity's now. They were at 84% compassion.
Wow.
That's a difference.
Yeah.
And their empathy was at 97 and very close to where we are now. So, yes, we have a lot to look forward to.
We're not going to get destroyed. And as a last conclusion, thank you so much. I just love it. But you also saw that in 24 years, something happens.
Yes.
That raises human consciousness suddenly within 1 year to a level of 500, did you say, which is love?
525, if I'm not mistaken,
Wow.
right? We go from 350 in 2045 all the way up to 525.
Or 500.
525
Okay.
in 2046. So we looked at the overall vibrational frequency for humanity, and then also realize, okay, how is this possible? There's definitely something is shifting on a massive level to make that jump within a year, right? From 2045 to 2046. But then we thought, okay, maybe also has a lot to do with the new generations coming into play. That people, they're being born, and yes, they are being born with a much higher vibrational frequency than the older generations, and that is it was so clear to us. And then we came across we raised some children. They're vibrating at very high frequencies, and so validated and confirmed our findings. That is not only something else, that it is happening as of an event, out of our control, but the new generations,
Alpha.
especially the generation Alpha, is laying out the ground or the foundation, right, for this. So when this event happens, we will be able to sustain that frequency, because we have
the right way. Yeah,
we have experienced other events in the past,
like the one that just occurred on December 21st.
Yes,
we measured the frequency of that day.
Mm-hmm.
And with the conjunction in Aquarius. Yes.
It was at 1,000. The frequency of that event was at 1,000. Okay, the human collective rose to 375. Okay, but the next day it dropped back to 230. Yes,
I do believe some seeds were planted on that day. 1,000 is the highest vibration possible on Earth, and I believe that because you said something interesting. At year 46, it suddenly jumps from 350. So it means that from now for the next 20 years, 25, we'll be rising up 150 points, which we haven't done in thousands of years. Yes. So the next 20 years under this conjunction, the influence of this conjunction continues for 20 years. But I
Oh,
think
wow.
it was seeded. It was like what utero is. It was seeded at that moment, on that day, at this 1000. It raced through 375, almost like a glimpse to show humans that over the next 20 something years, we're going to reach there. But then there is a huge event that happens on 46, which Alejandro and Elena measured, that they told you about. We jump to 500 love, thanks to our little ones, thanks to how they'll inspire us to react. So
Yeah.
all I can tell you, this is the most beautiful, hopeful message amidst all the negativity that is happening. I was just so down, and your message, when I discovered that, is just, it feels so true. I was getting goosebumps all the time when I was listening your revelational vibrations about humanity, about how on point we are, about how the consciousness is rising for the next 20 years, and then like never before in thousands of years, and then suddenly it jumps with a, suddenly some event horizon. We have to check it astrologically to see what it might be, whether aliens are coming, or whether, I don't know what it is, but something is coming, and we're on the rise, and we're
Mm.
constantly, gradually, for the next 20-25 years, we're going to rise with 125 points or something. This is never happened before. So I believe that, and we're gonna, in the future, we can check other horizon events, astrological. And
Yes.
first, next month or whenever, in 2 weeks, whenever you're free, because they're very busy. If you'd like a reading personal with Alejandro and Elena, you can find them at Holistic, their website. If you want to subscribe to their to their vibrational revelations, I'm addicted to them. As I said, I go to sleep with them, I wake up. There is a link below. I'm receiving some kind of percentage if you want to go through me. If you don't want, you can go straight to the website of Alejandro and Elena. Is the same link. It's up to you how you want. I don't want to make money from that. I'm just so excited to announce for you uh, this gate of truth, Aquarian information. Aquarius is revealing the truth. And you can also, if you're part of that membership, I think it's very cheap. I think it was what, $8-9 per month. I forgot what it was for the vibration.
It's $111 a year. It's
Okay.
one.
Yes. And you can also say, can you check this person, or can you check that person? Like they have to be people that are known. Like you can't give your own
Yeah.
to be checked, but and it's fascinating. It's a very strong community. People like coming together. Let's check those people, and they're setting requests to Alejandro and Elena. It's powerful, and this way you can find out who the teachers to follow are. Um, I immediately stopped listening to certain people that it's not pointing a finger or anything. It's just, where do you want to keep yourself vibrationally? Do you want to feel joy and enlightenment and whatever? So this is fascinating. At least, what are you putting in your head and in your heart? How you choose. And on that note, to tell you, when Alejandro and Elena come, hopefully in 2 weeks or something, we will do the 12 signs and the planets. And it doesn't mean that, we'll speak about that, but it is fascinating. Astrologically, we'll look at it. It's fascinating. And then you can start writing, what do you want Alejandro and Elena to check, connected to astrology, connected to spirituality, connected to human consciousness, because it's self-growth and spiritual growth website. And we can maybe check us vibrationally 2021 one day to see. But I just want to say thank you so much, Elena and Alejandro, for sharing your gift with us, for creating this system. And as far as I know, you'll be teaching it soon to people, but you'll be selecting the people very carefully, because people with integrity only can do this, of course, because it can be used like black magic can be used, So, yes, any concluding words?
We're just so happy well, first of all, to be here in this space with you.
Yes.
It's really an honor. And I think today, maybe people got to see you in a different light and hopefully find more inspiration from your story because you are such an inspiration, and you are in your beautiful integrity and love and joy and your compassion. So for us, it's truly joy to do this together, to explore the universes and galaxies with you and make sense of the things that, you know, I said to Alejandro, I feel like we are galactic anthropologists, you know, in a way. So I think combining vibrational frequencies, or archaeologists, and astrology is going to give such deep insight that has never been done before. And that's the part that excites me, because I feel that we are, as you say, the age of Aquarius is really going deep and big and exploring places that have perhaps never been explored in this way. And I'm hoping it will create enough inspiration for people to also go within, to trust, to know that everything is truly divine and beautiful. And yes, our message is really to share love and to remind people of who they are. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Next time we will do Russell Brand and Jeffrey Epstein, or one of the next times, and do it with astrology. So you can see how a lower consciousness, the same combination of planets, manifests at the worst possible way, according to its symbology, and at the high vibration of the same person who changes a few years later, manifests beautifully, the best. So this will give you amazing remedies and tools, how to not transcend, how to go to the higher manifestations of even the most difficult positions in your horoscope. And even the most difficult positions, actually, they give the most beautiful manifestations at high vibration, and at lower, the ugliest ones. And you'll see this manifested. It's just so clear, so easy to see. We'll tie up astrology with the vibrational revelations, and we're doing a revolution here, guys. We're doing a revolution in the spiritual world, in the self-growth world. Please go check their website, have readings with them, whatever. It's changed my life. I hope it does the same for you. And we have a journey of exploration. Thank you so much, Alejandro. Thank you so much, beautiful soul sister Elena. And I will see you very soon again.
Yes,
Wonderful.
see you soon.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year to everyone.
Yes.